And as she says on her website, her courage, her determination and fighting spirit certainly amazed and motivated a lot, including herself. Well, author of I Am Still Here, that's Irene Fisher, joins us today to tell us why she lives by making every second count in her life and why you should do the same. Irene, thank you so much for your time. Welcome to AM News.
Thank you so much, Dumelo.
Now, before we get into the book that you wrote, I'm Still Here, let's first start with that fateful day that, happened in your life. Take me back. What exactly happened?
It was in 2009. A truck skipped the red traffic light and slammed into me. Now, on the back of this truck, there was 25 tons of maize. Now, to give you a rough idea, the average elephant, is 6 tons. So on the back of this truck, there was 4 elephants and 1,000 kilograms of bricks. And I think it's cool because it means I basically survived a miniature stampede of elephants.
Sure.
So that left me as a hemiplegic with a slight speech impediment.
And take me through obviously the intense medical care that you needed afterwards. Probably months or even weeks spent in hospital and needing medical care.
Yes, I spent 3 months in hospital, and post-hospital I went to a rehabilitation center, and it took me 3 years and 11 months. Now that's almost 4 years just to be able to walk again. Now I don't do that gracefully. It's difficult to walk, but at least I can again, and I appreciate every step because not everybody can walk.
Right. And I can imagine that it's moments and incidents like these that make you appreciate every breath you take, every moment you have with family, every step you take, as you mentioned that it wasn't easy getting back to your motor movement skills. But let's go back to what kept you going through that time, Irene, and that difficult time. I'm sure that's the moment where you need your family the most, that's when you need support the most, even self-motivation, so to say.
Yes. And I'm glad you brought up family because they were my foundation, my constant motivators, my mother, father and sister. They were there for me all the time. My support base is watertight, and that includes my direct family and friends. So that's what kept me going. I wanted to make them proud. Yeah. I wanted to pay them back for all the devotion and patience they had with me, and because they supported me so well, I wanted to make them proud.
Yeah. And I'm sure you did, and I'm sure you still do. And I know that at home you can't see them, but Irene's mother and father are here, still supporting, of course, in this interview today on AM News. Now, Irene, let's talk about your book. Powerful, title, if I have to say so myself. I Am Still Here. Take me through, the journey of writing this book. What is in this book, the content, as well as the title of this book, please.
So my book is a non-fiction memoir about basically what happened to me and me dealing with my disability, because that's where the title comes from. I am still here because the greater part of society, as soon as you don't speak or move as most people do, so they think you're broken. People think I'm broken because I don't speak, easily or eloquently. So that I'm still here. I want to tell them I'm still here on the inside. So I was repackaged. I look different. I sound different than before. But I'm still here and I count. I'm a human being, like you to me. I still bleed red. I have heart, I have a brain, I have feelings, I have dreams, just like any other human being. And so my book is, I ask people just to give me, and other people in similar situations as mine, just whether you are disabled or not, treat another person with dignity and respect.
Absolutely.
It's just to make a person with a disability, obviously. Well, I'll speak for myself. Because of my disability, I am self-conscious and I do want approval. So the people tell me, okay, cool, we can see you are specially adapted now, but we don't think you're stupid or we don't think you are worth less now that you don't operate as you used to. So that is what my book is about, basically advocating the rights of people with disabilities.
I'm so glad that you mentioned that, Irene, talking about how you're now advocating for the rights of people living with disabilities, especially for, an individual who was, born actually very abled before the accident happened, and now you get to experience the other side of what people living with disabilities go through on a daily basis of facing discrimination. Do you think the spotlight is placed enough on, the rights of people living with disabilities?
No, not at all. I think society is so not in tune to what a person with a disability requires or needs. Because I think nowhere, think about it to me, not in school, at varsity, at work, at home or at church, anybody is told enough about any disability.
Right.
And only if someone in your immediate family, so if a loved one suffers from any given disability, whether it's Down syndrome or paraplegia, you don't know anything. If you don't have someone or know someone that's affected, you don't know anything. So I think there is a huge information gap that no institution really talks about or informs people, because obviously only when I woke up I realized there was a term like a hemiplegic. I never knew it existed. I know paraplegics and quadriplegics, but here I was at the ripe old age of 26, and it was literally the first time I heard that word.
Right.
I never knew it existed. So I feel a lot of institutions fail, even from kids, even primary school. They fail people, they don't inform you. So people lack, in general, most people, I won't overgeneralize,
right.
Most people lack compassion and respect because they don't understand you. So what I'm trying to do through my book as well, I try to make people understand me, brain injuries, and then, a bit more, because I think if someone understands me, it will lead to respect and compassion. And hopefully my big dream is that we will be a diverse but yet more inclusive society eventually.
While we're having this conversation, Irene, I keep thinking that it's such a coincidence that we're having this conversation with you today right here on AM News, because obviously I read, a story about how the Deputy Minister of Social Development, Minister Henrietta Mokgopane-Zulu, just this past couple of days was talking at an event about how to sort of adhere and acknowledge the rights of people living with disabilities, how the country needs to do more. Now, from your experience, what do you think still needs to be done, from a government's perspective, from private sector's perspective, as well as society, in educating children, educating society about the rights and also the abilities that actually people living with disabilities are capable of?
First of all, why I feel there is still a need for it. If you take basic things like transport, even in restaurants, shopping malls, it's not adapted enough, I think, for people with disabilities. So I think it should start at the root. Kids in school, they need to be told, because what I experience, people stay, then you hear them talk or snicker, so they don't come to me and ask me about my disability, because and I would like that, because I think that is how you educate people one-on-one. So people are almost too shy, or they look at you weird and they don't talk to you because they tend to avoid you, because in that moment I am the unknown. And it's part of human nature. People fear the unknown.
Absolutely.
So I think to make myself more user-friendly or acceptable to the larger part of society, I think government needs to step in, especially with concerning education, because I feel that is where kids and then people in varsity, they should know, because I consider myself as being part of a real life situation. Okay, what happened to me was not regular, but it was traumatic. And people should know that there is that possibility that mayhem can strike and swipe everything from your life. So people should know how to deal
Yeah.
with such a situation, or if they encounter someone with a disability.
And talk about how to assist people, in dealing with, such a traumatic experience. Going back to your book as well, Irene, I mean, how do you think your book will change the life of someone who's watching you right now and has been told perhaps that they could never walk again after a freak accident? I can imagine that should be very, very traumatic.
Yeah, so what my mom and dad and sister, they were told when I was admitted to hospital that I might only live for 72 hours. And then after I woke up, they said I wouldn't be able to talk again. And then as soon as I started talking again, they said, no, I shall never walk. So every time they tried to label me and pin me down. So my message to anyone listening, don't let people label you. Labels crash in my personal, well, I experienced it personally. Don't allow people to box you. Try for yourself, because if you don't try, you'll never know.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm sure everybody that's watching us right now have this conversation are wondering, what is next for you? I mean, you were a veteran journalist, very successful, very brilliant in what you do. What do you think your life's dedication, or passion is right now?
My big passion is I just want to make a difference in someone's world. Because in the beginning, I was rather adamant, I want to change the world. And then I got a reality check when I realized in South Africa alone, there's over 45 million people. So I realized, okay, no, maybe that's a bit big. So now I take it day for day, breath for breath, person for person. I just want to make a difference.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do.
And I think, your story is not just your own, but also your family's story. They're the heroes in the story as well. And I'm also thinking about the family members, the parents, the siblings who are probably going through what your family went through during your very difficult time. What would your message of encouragement be to those mothers and fathers who probably don't even know what to do, who are discouraged, who feel that, what happened to my child directly affects me as well as a parent?
The thing is, never stop loving. I know my mom and dad and sister, they don't ever completely always understand what I'm doing or what I'm saying, but they never stop loving me. And they keep on supporting me, they are very patient. So I would say, overdose on patience and never stop loving. You can be angry, but talk about it. Never go to bed angry. Talk it out, and hopefully you'll understand each other's opinions better, but just be there. That's the thing. So for me, is the support, never go away. That's all I will say.
I like what you said, overdose on patience and be there, because you are still here. So thank you so much, Irene Fisher. I appreciate your talk. Thank you so much for coming to AM News.
Thank you, Timmy.
Thank you so much. Well, that was author of I'm Still Here, Irene Fisher, of course, talking to us about her book. Of course, I didn't actually get to ask, where can we get the book?
You can just visit my website, www.irenefisher.co.za, and you can order it from there.
Alrighty then, well, make sure that you order your copy and order for your friends and family members as well, because this is a book not only for the directly affected victim, but for the family members and friends as well. Very motivational. I can't wait to get my hands on it. And thank you once more, Irene, for joining us.